Okay, let me see if I did it correctly this time. Hmm. Let me have a gander. Bum. Am I live? Am I live? Am I live? Oh, I am live. Good. Soup. Hello. So, yep, surprise stream. It's the last of the trilogy. Um, yeah, I couldn't really find a good time to do this because, well, I'm employed. That tends to cause some issues. But I'm gonna give it like 10 minutes before we start going, and then we'll start with the the small final, which is Yasweed, my hero. Go into some analysis of the judging from that. So in the meantime, I'll say hello to everyone. Hey Dango, hello Leon, hello Tigerswood, hello Shui. Someone got mad. SPX called you the god of drum and bass. Well, I mean, I'm not the god of drum and bass, but don't think there's any beatboxer right now that is. If someone got mad at me for being the so-called god of drum and bass, and because they say, well, Noisia are the gods of drum and bass, then I'll be like, yeah, fair enough. It's true. It's not wrong. I'm good at making drum and bass, but I'm not the god. But how's everyone doing today on this fine Thursday? I am chilling. Best judge of the competition. Yeah, no, I mean, it depends on what you look for. Again, I try to do it in a way that I find fair, but some people think that I'm wrong. That's okay. In the end, it's not really so much about it's marketing. What are you gonna do? Yep. Yeah, exactly. More or less. I mean, SPX can call me the god of drum and bass if they want to. That's a bit too early for that. Do you guys hear my microphone? Okay. Changes the best track. Thank you. I don't think it's the best track ever. I think it's good, but I really appreciate you guys saying all these nice words. It's been a really good couple of days of this track. I don't know. Holy loud. Is it loud? I mean, it is, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it is loud. But that is. The camera angle's weird, lol. When you're almost at the edge. Yeah, well, I mean, like, see, the thing is, I mean, I'll show you what I'm trying to do, right? So the issue is my table is a music producing table. It's not a content table. But when I do this, then I'm in the center. Do you see what I'm doing? But like, I mean, I can lean back a little bit, but I'm, you know, your mic is a bit soft. It really shouldn't be. It really should not be. And I don't want to do too much because my microphone cable is something special. What does the B in KBA stand for? It's my middle name, and I keep it a secret because I don't want people to look me up on the internet. Not to be a party pooper, but yeah, that's why I don't do that. I mean, most people know my name is Casper Anderson, but I don't wanna reveal my full name. Yep, I guess my microphone cable just did this. I apologize, but I blame the guy who said my microphone was quiet. I've refused to take any accountability. Let me see. And for everyone who's a member, I'm gonna be doing track breakdowns of Change and Watch It Fall, like the production behind it. So if you guys are curious as to how to make so-called industry standard Drum and bass, it's written on my Spotify. Well, there you go. It's in the Beatbox Wiki. Okay, well, some people have found my information. There you go. Now you guys know what it stands for. I guess you can look me up everywhere if you want to. See what I do in my personal life. Because why not? I mean, that's, there you go. Personal information leaked public on stream. But yeah, so anyone who's a member will see the full process of how I made it all. I'll give you guys a quick look into what the project looks like, actually. So for those of you who don't know, I released 2 tracks. My first label release. These tracks have been supported by some pretty big names in drum and bass. The people, my members who are on my Discord, will know that some really big names in drum and bass have these songs. So it's a really big step in my career as a drum and bass musician. Let me... kind of funny to look at. But let me just pull this up here. Let's do change. Just so you guys see what a fully produced project looks like. I guess I need to add a new window. Give me 1 second here. Add a window. Add a new source instead. Boom. This one. Good. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, that shouldn't be happening. That's rather funny. Okay. Why is there just a... Alright. Alright, bro. That's cool. I didn't ask anyway. Does it help if I change the... Oh, okay. Well, that works. Cool. And now I'd like my camera. There we go. What the... Bro. And see, this is what I mean when I say I'm not a content creator. Oh, I'm an idiot. Of course, I know why. Because I'm trying to do this on... Hold. Bro. Okay, I'm just quickly doing this before we do everything else. You know what? At this point it's like I realize that. So this is what I mean when I say I'm not a content creator. So for everyone who wants me to do more reaction videos and stuff, like, it's just not happening because I'm completely useless at this kind of bullshit. Add a new source instead. Window capture. Boom. 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 And then there we go. But hey, nice. Oh, and you still have the mini meters, but it won't really work for this. So just for reference on how many layers there are in this project, it's kind of unbelievable. Let me go through this while it's loading. Yeah, this project now also takes like years to load because of how large it is. So this is for all the people that want to get into producing and you want to see what a full-on project looks like. It kind of looks something like this. And it loads really slowly as well. Give it a second. My computer's dying. There we go. Boom. Okay. So yeah, I have like an effects folder with impacts and sweeps. A separate folder for like atmospheres. A group for the vocals. A group for the instruments, which includes a group for the instruments and for the basses. And in the instruments, we have all of this, which these are like the synths that I've created. And this is the entire orchestra. And then these are the bases. This is the one base. This is another base. This is a third base, which has got these layers here. And this is another base. And I forgot what... Oh, this is all the drums. Boom. Boom. So as you can tell, this is not for the weak-hearted. So yeah, this is the full project. There's a few tracks. But, project has more layers than Earth's crust. Yeah, it's not even wrong. But I mean, it's kind of... Like, the whole point then is that you kind of are able to group it into, like 6 different things at the end, right? And then you can kind of solo one and you can kind of hear it for itself. Oh, so actually I've labeled these wrong. This is actually the bass and this is the instruments. Yeah, and you know, you got all this good shit. I realize this might be quite loud because it's at full volume. But yeah. Anyway, so if you're a member, give me maybe until the weekend, and I'm gonna show you how all of this is made. And that's a promise. Maybe until the weekend, maybe it's gonna be a little bit longer. But yeah, if you guys want to see how all of this stuff happened, let me know. And then, without further ado, let's get into the wild cards? No, why am I saying wild cards? Because we're doing the battles. So we've got Mahiro Yasuit, right? That's the one. Okay. So, thank you all for holding on. This was my own advertisement for, you know, all the stuff I'm doing. So what do you gotta do? If you want to watch the reactions, you gotta watch me promoting myself. If you're upset about that, don't watch the reactions. It's how it is. Mahiro Yasuit. This is the small final. I voted for Yasuit to be in the final, but I was the only one, and we all agreed that Mahiro was gonna be in the small final. So that's the situation. I'm gonna do some game staging as we go. And I might quickly adjust.
We have Yasuit versus Mahiro. Mahiro won the coin toss, chose.
Yeah, you guys, I don't need to do much of an introduction at this point. You guys know, we got Yasuit, we've got Mahiro. They have been great throughout the whole tournament. But then again, who hasn't been great through the whole tournament? You know? So, yeah. I'm not going to waste much more time. I'm going to just get right into it. Maybe the one thing that's important to say is that this was right after the second semifinal. So Mahiro more or less just stayed on stage. Like, he didn't really get an introduction or anything. Yasuit just kind of came back, and then the battle started again.
Yasuit to go first. He is getting set up and good to go. Judges are good to go. Once again, I ask, crowd, are you good to go? Come on! I say the 3, you say the 2 and the 1 in 3!
I wonder if there's something wrong with this microphone here, because it sounds kind of muffled. But it's fine here. Some layering.
Okay, let me save this really quickly. Give me 2 seconds. 1, 2, switch. There we go.
There's no YouTube capture. Oh, that's great. You know what? I'm just going to pretend that we never did any of that. You know what's really funny? If you guys could see my... Oh, is it done? Will this work? Nope. Okay. You know, this is fucking wonderful. I love being a content creator. I'm never being a content creator again. Well, here it is. Boom. And now I'm gone, but now here it is. Okay. Right, we're going to pretend that never happened. This is like... If I did that in a GBB battle, it would have been a human error and I would have lost. That's a joke. Because I would have gotten the restart. That's also a joke. I hope you guys are in the mood for... Hope you guys don't get upset too easily. Oops. Anyway. Hi, Martin. Anyway, now we know the chat's alive. Let's go with... This is going wonderful. Guys, just in my defense, I've had a long-ass day at work, and the last 3 days, I've also been at university. So, you know, don't be too harsh on me, okay? I'm not a full-time content creator. I'm just a dude that makes music and got asked to judge. And your voice is too small. You know what? No, it's not. I can actually see... I can see the fucking Motu microphone. I know it's fine. So you know what? You might have hearing issues. I'm kidding. But here we go. So this is my hero Yasweed. We're just doing this again. I'm glad you guys caught it early. Thank you for that. Let's get on with the... Where does it start? Let's start here. I think this looks like the start. Alright, let's start in 3, 2, 1. This is my hero Yasweed.
私のストロングゼロどこですか? Okay.
Martin counter.
Okay, let me save this really quickly. Give me 2 seconds. 1, 2, switch. There we go.
You know what? This rhythm confused me live, and still the first time I hear it, I'm like, what's he doing? But then it makes sense as you hear it. It was a joke. I know your hearing isn't bad. Minimeters is not working. See, so for those of you who are rewatching this on YouTube, just about everything that could go wrong is going wrong. Default output cap. It shouldn't be. Honestly, there shouldn't even be a problem. Did it stop working just like randomly? Now it's working, right? Okay, well, I can't even do anything. I like how he pans his hi-hats here. Usually I'm not a fan of this, but because he makes like slightly different syncopated rhythms, it's cool. I kind of have an issue with the use of time here. It feels very... I know he made like he's putting in a set and then he saved it and then he goes on to another set. And this is a pretty risky strategy, I think. It has to really pay off with a lot of content towards the end of it. Because the first minute has been very, very empty. If you're gonna be that empty in the first section, you really have to do a lot to make it interesting in the section afterwards. These chords are really cool.
Hey, woo, yeah, y'all are the reason that I'm fucking sick of it.
The way the bass came in was nice, but I would like a little bit more bass, to be honest.
Everybody clap, 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 clap.
And it still feels empty.
Clap, 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 clap. Okay, are you ready? Everybody, sing, sing, pa 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 pa. Bye bye, Martin.
You know, this actually hit quite well live, but I don't think it was the reason why it works originally is because of the whole anticipation and setup. I mean, the Martin drop in itself is really, really good, but the whole atmosphere and the build is what makes it interesting because you're building up all this tension, you know? That's what makes drops interesting in the first place. If you just throw a shitload of noise into someone's face, there's nothing there that's inherently good. It's like you got to build the tension and then you got to give, people a surprise and then a payoff. And I feel like I know it's a counter and it's but it's, and I know he's trying to battle, but it kind of is not as effective as it could be because there's not enough tension being built for it to really be able to give any sort of payoff, even if it objectively is mixed really well. There's Martin Fernandez as But I can appreciate the whole concept of trying to counter both Martin and my hero in one round, and also the fact that he did this after assumingly hearing his my hero's quarterfinal round is impressive. So I'm not trying to take away from it, but in order to make, like, even if it's a counter and even if it's a battle move, you still have to do something to build tension. And I never really felt the tension at any point. Enough for the drops to pay out.
Thank you.
And that's time.
Yeah, I mean, like, overall, like, from a battle perspective, there's definitely some really cool ideas in there, and I think the potential for something like this to pay off is actually quite strong. And I think maybe this round would have worked better in the final, but maybe the, like, part of the excitement of the battle is not so much there in a small final. I'm not too sure. Not a fan of other contestants getting on stage during performance. I mean, I keep seeing these comments and it's like, it's fine, but I feel like there's definitely been a lot of movement and people walking away from their spaces the last couple of years, and it seems like this year people have a problem with it. And I don't know what's different from this year as opposed to the last couple of years. Why people have so many issues with, like, movement around the stage. And I'm not trying to say this in like a way to, like, poke at anyone. If someone can explain to me, then that would be cool. I'm just genuinely curious. He made up this track and he didn't care a lot. IMO. I disagree. I don't think you go through and do all of this if you don't care. Then you just perform one of your own tracks. So I don't know. Sweet said in his live stream that he wasn't the biggest fan of Martin coming on because he naturally wanted to turn around, but he couldn't because it would have messed up his round. Yeah, I mean, that I can understand that. Listen, as a judge, it's not my position to decipher, like, code of conduct things and, like, rules. That's on Christoph. If he has an opinion on that's on him primarily. I can say from my perspective, I can understand what Yasweet's saying. I don't know if there's any rules against it. But at the same time, as we're gonna see soon, Yasweet also walks in front of my hero on the table. So I'm not really sure where we draw the line. You know? Just some food for thought. And it's not a diss at Yasweet, it's not a diss at Martin's, not a diss at anyone's. You know, I'm just genuinely curious as to where people draw the line and where people see the differences. Chaos, that's not even wrong. I don't even disagree. That is there we go, I'm back. Let's go on to the Mahiro round, and then we can talk about all of the other stuff later.
Final GBB 25 right here live in Tokyo. He's getting the thumbs up. You already know what to do. I say the sun, you say the knee and the eat. Crowd in sun.
That's what I've been saying, Betty. It's become an issue now, but I don't know why it's an issue now. I know what he said. I just see inconsistencies with this year, previous years, and also within battles. I really like this round, by the way. I mean, I know this round already. I think this one's I'm surprised this doesn't actually on video hit harder, because I remember this live was really, really satisfying and nice. This was super good. There's not much I can really say about this round, because I feel like I've already covered it on my channel before. I think we did a wildcard live stream. What I can say is that he's executing it to perfection in a live scenario, which isn't easy. It's just well done, you know, like, I don't really know what I can say that you don't already know. I would like the vocals to be more present. Kind of gets overshadowed by the basses. Yeah, great round. Execution on point. Feels like a song. I love the use of time. There's not so much battle energy as there's in Yasui's. But like I mentioned, I don't think Yasui's battle energy necessarily paid dividends in this case. So for me, this round was a Mahiro win. Pretty comfortable as well. Great mix down. Just overall really solid. There's not much I can really say that you probably can't figure out yourself, you know? We're gonna take all of this around like moving on stage and all this stuff. I think we're gonna leave that until the end, if that's okay with you guys. Or else for the viewers, it's just gonna be like me discussing stage movement and not everything else. Is that cool with you guys? If so, I think I'm just gonna move straight on to the final round.
Bring it on. With the response, coming on back. He's taken off the watch. Things are serious. We're about to go and find this out, my good friend. Are you ready, Yasweed? We're gonna do a quick mic check.
If you guys have discussion points, keep them for the end.
Y'all ready? I say the 3, you say 2 and the 1. In 3.
Something I'm still confused about now, actually, is did he... I'm wondering when he inputted this sound. This is something that I just remembered that we had a discussion with Christoph about, and he didn't really have any idea. But to me, it looks like this sound is inputted beforehand. We didn't end up punishing it, and Yasweed, if he's around or cares enough to watch, he can come in and correct me.
In 3.
But it just seems like this was not inputted. It seems like this was inputted beforehand. Is it a okay, so it's from feedback. Okay. Well, yeah, in that case, fair enough. If you're generating it from feedback, then what are you gonna do?
Whoa, relax.
In the end, it doesn't really matter that much. I just saw it and I was like, you know?
So much, my guy, and I keep wondering, what do I do against you?
There's something really funny about just like yelling, like going from a low tone and like starting to scream, and then following it up by this. I can't fault the showmanship, you know? He's got that on lock. I'm wondering if the build-up was louder than the drop itself. So this was at minus 16 LUFS approximately. Surprisingly, this part feels way louder.
を超える全てを潰すお前の世界を破壊してやる
Yeah, I don't know. A little bit on the structural side here, where I think he was building up a lot of energy, and I feel like he kind of lost a lot of momentum here. Now it's definitely quieter than the.
Thank you.
And that's time.
I mean, I can appreciate a lot of the showmanship ideas here, but sadly, I feel like the ideas are not polished enough. And, you know, people will say, oh, he's just having fun, or oh, he didn't try, or whatever. I mean, whatever the reason was, it wasn't, in my opinion, polished enough. His other rounds have been overall really solid, and of course the showmanship and everything was still very well done. But, you know, as a judge who's watching this, who doesn't really, you know, consider the people's circumstances itself, I just see it for what it is, which is it doesn't feel finished. You know, and that's not particularly good when you're watching the GBB. But that's how it is sometimes, you know. And I know he's not the only one to have ever had an incomplete round on stage, so I don't blame him for it. I know creating for every single Grand Beatbox battle is rough. I did like 3 GBBs in a row. I didn't want to do a 4th. That's how it is, you know. So I'm not blaming him for it at all, but, you know, as a judge, I just have to see it for what it is.
Son!
The kick is slightly high-pitched for me. Could have been a little bit deeper in the top. Sorry to stop it at such an epic time, but someone asked a good question, and I do want to answer it. Do you, as a judge, give minus points when the performer leaves around 20 to 30 seconds of time? Great question. My policy to this has always been that if you are within time, even if it's so-called short, but the track itself feels full and done and complete, and it doesn't need anything more, then I don't give minus points. If you're, let's say, missing 20 seconds, and I felt that one of your build-ups was rushed, or that you could have had an extra breakdown, or that you were like missing some content from the track as a whole, then I would give minus points. Because then for me, it's not that your track is too short according to the time, but it's that you were missing something that you could have done with the extra 20 seconds you had. Anyway, let's get into this round.
Alright, destruction protocol activated. System chain release in progress. No mercy, no escape. The client rises.
我は久しき風より目覚めし者人の断りなどもはや聞かず今何を思う恐れか哀れか今一度当売汝が定めば逃れ得ぬ衆の国 Let's get this shit. 破滅の時、あなたの大地らしく抑え
Not to pause again during. I hope that my microphone didn't just like absolutely break by me accidentally hitting it. Not to stop at like a weird time again. But there is something to be said about doing what some, including myself, would consider. I want to talk about repetitiveness. Is basically where I want to go with this, because we've now had from Mahiro, the first round is some sort of 4 on the floor. You know, like the first one was around like I guess like 124 to 128 BPM, followed by rhythm round, and he's kind of followed that structure where his first round was some sort of 4 on the floor thing, followed by a rhythm round. And I've always been saying that, you know, it doesn't matter what genre you do, and I still believe so. But there's something to say about, like, structurally, he's followed the exact same structure, like the exact same setup for Renegade, the exact same setup for Megalodon, and now for Goliath, right? Um, you know, it's always the same thing. You know, you input this, you input that, you input that. Start with the drums, you make a melody, then you take out the drums, then you do some sort of build up into the first drop, then you take it all out, and then you do a second drop. You know, this is his style. I can appreciate his style. However, he's putting himself at a disadvantage by not only doing the same genre, but by following structurally similar setups every single time. I'm thinking back to the fact that in my GBB 24 run, where 4 out of my 6 tracks were drum and bass, I think you could pretty easily look at those 4 drum and bass rounds and identify that they are from widely different subgenres of drum and bass, with very different vibes, with very different sound designs, and with very different structures. Very different chord progressions as well. If you guys disagree with that, that's absolutely fine. But I'm just thinking back to the fact that I did, like him, he did 3 rounds of rhythm. I did, or dubstep, I guess is bro step, whatever you guys want to call it. And I did 4 rounds of drum and bass, and we both had 6 rounds. But I still feel that, isn't that just artistry? Well, Cameron, that's exactly what I'm trying to say, is that to some degree, yes, it's artistry, but at the same time, he is putting himself at a disadvantage by following the same setup every single time. And there's a very, very fine line in between doing what is your style and repeating what's your style. And to be honest, at this point, he's crossed the line for me. To where this doesn't hit anymore. It's objectively a great track, but there's nothing here that surprises me in any way. The setup is in, I mean, just for example, in all of my drum and bass rounds, I'd never reused the same drum pattern. There's always a different break or something. I don't feel that's the case here. I don't give like minus points for doing the same genre, but at the same time, I'm emotionally not as attached to something that I feel I've already heard before. I mean, for example, I'm sorry that I keep pausing in this, but I hope you guys understand. First of all, I want to point out that he's got way less options than I did in 2024. So, you know, before anyone says that's the reason, I understand. I hold that into account. Spiral has a halftime switch. Forgive Myself also has a halftime switch, but it's very melodic and it's like happy, you know. So Forgive Myself from all the others is very different. Whiplash switches into techno, and New King switches into this like almost jungle like pattern. For example, a New King like has a different drum pattern and a different way of building it up. Anyway, I just want to point out to you guys, like, doing the same genre is something that I'm a big fan of, but you have to diversify yourself. This like choir setup we also heard on the first day.
GBB, make some noise!
This is really impressive.
Activate secret!
This is a great battle. I have to be honest. I like the phaser. Like, you hear that? Like, you have... I don't know if you guys see it. There's a little phaser on it. That's really cool. Yeah. I voted for my hero in this battle. I think my hero won the first round, and I think my hero won the second round. I think Yasuid had some cool battle moves in there, but ultimately, my hero had really well-sounding rounds. Even if I do think they're repetitive, I can objectively see that they're well-sounding rounds. And I think that's also what I mean when I say that being repetitive is not necessarily an issue, but you're limiting your own abilities to surprise the crowd and the judges. Does that make sense? So yeah, I went with my hero. I can confirm to you. By the way, little fun fact. Juliana and the Swiss Beatbox team trusted me with handling people's papers. So I was the first person on the planet to know who won this Grand Beatbox battle for both the loop station and the producer. Little fun fact. You can ask yourself, why did they give me that responsibility? Couldn't tell you, but they did. And, well, I didn't fuck up. Anyway, my point is that I know for a fact, I don't know who voted for what. I didn't, I just got the papers. I tried to take them anonymously, shuffle them around, because I didn't want to be affected by what people did. But the result of the final, I am 95% certain was 3-2 to my hero. Surprise, my hero.
Home with $1,200. Second place is taking home $3,250.
Why you not taking my hand, bro?
Be going home with $1,200. Second place is taking home $3,250, and first place is going home with $8K. We are here for finding out right now who is the small final loop station champion, GBB 2025, coming at you live and direct from Tokyo. It was Yasuid and Mahiro in the
Do you give minus points if you already know the tracks performed from previous tournaments or years? No. I don't give minus points, but I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that it doesn't affect my judging. Like, if it's not something where I'll sit and be like, okay, well, this guy did something that he already did, I'm going to vote the other guy. But, for example, I'm of the impression that, for example, when me and Saijo battled, Saijo reusing his round from the year before, without knowing if it's for sure, I think the judges, because they'd already heard the Saijo track, maybe didn't hit them as hard. But I'm trying to think of if there was any major cases of reuse. Maybe in the final, Martin Pedestal might be the big one. But yeah. It also kind of surprised me that I ended up with like a 3-2 in my hand, but I mean, in my opinion, the correct one.
Final. Help me out, crowd. Your third place is...
Yeah, it influences the judging, but it doesn't change my judging, but it will subconsciously change me. Yeah, I mean, I agree with the decision. Let's before we move on, I don't think there's like objectively from like a battle perspective, I don't think there's a whole lot for me to say. For me, it was rather clear. But I do want to talk about these two incidents because everyone is becoming a referee in the comments these days. Sorry to diss you guys, but I read the comments and you guys are not afraid of sharing your opinion. Let's leave it at that. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the two. Let's talk about where is
Everybody! Clap, clap.
where is it? Where is it? It's probably here, right? Yeah, how do I feel about this for a battle? KBA did rock guitar riffs first. That is true. I was actually into metal first. Let's talk about this. I think it shouldn't affect the battle. Like I wouldn't have punished it in the moment, and it wasn't punished. How do I feel about it? I don't know. It feels a bit random. I don't really know, to be honest. It just looks a bit goofy, but I don't really feel upset about it. It just kind of reminds me of like when, who was it? Was it D-Lo that came on for one of Balance's rounds? I forget now. Or like Alexinho came on for one of Sorrow's rounds. The defense is that was during their own rounds. I can see why this would distract Yasuid, to be honest. And I wouldn't punish it, but I also don't think it's something that we should normalize. You know, just like throwing all sorts of random people on stage. Like, I know Martin Benatti isn't random. He was not only competing, and he's, you know, he's there. But I know it's because of the counter. I'll give you a better frame so you don't look like you're, like, you know, like Michael Jackson. It's one of those where it's like I can understand this being annoying, but at the same time, I can also understand this being annoying.
圧倒的パワーをどけお前
Activate secret!
So, but I mean, like, I found it fucking hilarious, and in the end, it's just, you know, so it's like, where do we draw this line? Is the question that we should ask ourselves. When is something distracting for a performance, and when is something not distracting for a performance? I think most reasonable people, including the people in my chat, who I hope you're all reasonable and not here to try and rage bait me, will agree that during your own performance, people going on stage with you, like, provided they're not looping for you, provided they're not like doing anything for you, is fine. Going up to your opponent is fine. Touching your opponent in any scenario is not fine. But outside of that, doing anything is more or less okay. The rules are the line. Yeah, I mean, of course. Rage, I want to make it clear. I didn't punish Yasui's thing, and I didn't punish Martin and Mahiro's thing, and nobody did. It's not a question of, like, are the rules lines? Of course the rules are the fucking lines. Like, everyone knows that. It's more like a talk of, like, morally, where should the line be? You know? Because, I mean, like, you could also make the argument that, like, if there's a rule, like, if it says in the rules that you're allowed to, like, drop kick your opponent and kick out his teeth, it's like, well, then the rules aren't the line. You know? Well, you say rules are line, well, rules should be changed. Like, that's the question, is, like, should we change the rules? And if so, how? I think the easiest solution is that during your opponent's round, you don't invite people on stage anymore, even if it makes sense. And you also don't, like, go within your opponent's table. Like, to me, for future GBBs, this is, yeah, we don't do this where Martin is on stage, and we also don't touch your opponent's table. Like, the table is the sacred space, you know? Because this didn't happen, but it could have very easily happened, where, like, Yasui could have moved the table itself and, you know, like, would have fucked up some things. So it's just, we kind of do still have to make sure that people can perform the, like, it shouldn't be a competitive advantage to try and distract your opponent during his rounds, because then like, what's the fucking point? You know, like, then we're all gonna try and distract each other rather than just fucking, like, perform our rounds. Anyway, that's my opinion. If you care about my opinion, comment. In the end, I make money. So, oops. Is there no sound now? Well, let's see if that's the case for everyone, because I see sound coming in. This happens a lot in solo and tags and not on loops. What's the difference? The difference is there's a machine involved that you have to visually input the buttons. I mean, Rage, listen, if you wanna start, like, going up and, like, doing, like going onto someone's table and start doing stuff, fine. But you also kind of have to see that the loop is an extension of your instrument. Like, in beatboxing, your mouth and your voice is your instrument. So it's like, if you touch your body, then you're affecting your opponent. If you touch the table and, like, do all this stuff, then that by extension is also affecting what your opponent's doing. It's like if you're playing keys and someone's, like, touching your keyboard stand. Yeah, you're not touching the instrument, but you are touching what the instrument is on, you know? So, is the audio delayed? Well, oops. Can't do something about it. No, I have to be honest, I think, like, we can argue the technicalities of, like, oh, does it actually really affect you, and should you be doing it solo and all this stuff, but it's more so, like, just, like, think about what's actually reasonable to do. Like just don't be an asshole, you know? I think it's that simple. If you disagree, feel free to disagree. Don't touch your opponent's gear. Like, it's the same, like, when I'm DJing, I like when people don't touch my DJing stuff. And that by sequence is also the table, because if people touch the table, then the table can move. It's the same as, like, people putting drinks on your table and stuff. Like, when you're a performer in, like, clubs and stuff, and also in this case, it's just nice when people don't do shit like this. But while it's the rules, I can't do anything about it. So I can understand Yasweet being annoyed, and I can also understand if Mahiro was annoyed. But it really it shouldn't even be like should just be like a question of, would this annoy you? And if it would, then you probably shouldn't do it. Yeah, and we're gonna watch the final soon. I mean, like, I don't listen to them. Don't listen to me. Just don't give. I mean, yeah. I mean, in the end, my opinion's my opinion, you know. And I'm happy for people to come in and discuss it. I'm not, you know, I'm more than open to having my mind changed. I don't want it to sound like this, but yeah, I don't mind it being like distracting your opponent is part of being GBB is being competitive. I'm not saying music should be competitive, but when it is, it makes sense to me, you know. Sure, but you don't touch your opponent's gear. You don't touch what your opponent's gear is standing on, and maybe that's something that you have to be a musician to understand. Like maybe you don't understand it if you're not a musician, but it's like your own like property and shit being touched, you know. So maybe it's something that you just have to be a musician, and you have to be on stage to understand why that's annoying. No, but if you're touching a table where your gear is standing on, then you're affecting what could affect gear. Like and again, maybe this is something where you just have to be a musician to understand. You know? You don't touch the table, in my opinion. I see it now. In the moment I couldn't punish it for it, and I didn't want to. It's just, you know, if let's say Yasui just like stood where Mahiro wanted to walk, like he was just like right in front of the stage. It's cool with me. But the table touching. What was your opinion on Mirza touching Yasui's cheek during the battle? I mean, again, should be punished. It wasn't. I'm not like, as a judge, my job is to make a decision on who. My job isn't to sit and referee what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed. I'm delayed again. Boom, boom, beam, boom, boom. There. Okay. Whoop. But if I saw that, I'd be like, nah. But it's such a fine line, and it is also like, when is it a problem, when is it not a problem? And I don't have the answer for you guys, but I have those very clear set in stone principles about like what you do and what you shouldn't do. And that's my opinion. If you guys want to have a different opinion, that's fine. Saying that distracting your opponent is part of the battle, I can understand to some extent and agree with. But if you are directly doing contact that could cause issues for your opponent, which would include the table, then I see an issue. And that's my final conclusion. Let's go on to the final. We have Martin versus Dice. Yeah, exactly. I agree with you, but I think it's weird music is getting judged and used in a battle anyway. Well, that's the community we're in. That's a topic that we can talk about for years. Let's get into the final. I hope you guys enjoyed my TED Talk. Let's keep going.
Crowd in 12!
I think it's pretty obvious by now that I think Martin Benatti is a rather good musician and a rather good looper. The snare sounds nice. The kicks sound nice. Again, he's got a little bit of feedback on the kicks, but the drum patterns on point, is on time, is everything that I enjoy with music. And it's just solid. And I like the little into it. It's like very raw beatbox sounding in the best way. It's like you're like a little phrase to end the drums with. It's very nice. It's like I don't really think there's much for me to criticize, but again, this is a round that I've already heard. So there's nothing here that's like particularly overly surprising for me. At the same time, like everything sounds good. I like the use of raw beatboxing, and I also think doing this, like, I don't exactly know what the genre would be called. Martin can help me out. He's in the chat. But I would argue that this is like the anomaly style, especially with the synths. Using Osbot, which objectively sounds terrible. Osbot, the effect sounds garbage. But using it for something like this, it feels very stylish.
Alright, Tokyo! Yay! It's a trap in a minute, you'll see the pinnacle. Locked in, home is not a studio. No need to pray for a miracle. I got blessed, think you're the best. Anything loop, I become surgical. Hope is on my side.
I turned up my microphone a bit, but I think if I do it anymore, I'm gonna start peaking. So, well, pray for the best.
I'd see it's raining. Thousand tears of joy, cause I'm making. Angels on my right, they're protecting. Tears of joy, cause I'm making. Hope is on my side, see it's raining. Thousand tears of joy, cause I'm making. Angels on my right, they're protecting.
It's very, very stylish. He has a way of making songs that is, I mean, it's not the first time I hear something like this, but it's the first time I hear something like this done in this manner on the loop station, and I think it's really, really impressive.
Thousand tears of joy, cause I'm making. Angels on my right, they're protecting. Putting on my mama, I'm a face it.
I mean, again, just like these small, like little details, like transitioning it like this. This is where the magic kind of is, isn't it?
Cause I'm making. Angels on my right, they're protecting. Putting on my mama, I'm a face it.
There we go.
It's playtime, so jump in the lines. They wanna say so. Get a rifle, some ammo, gotta lay low. A pyro about to crush the party. Hurry up, hide in the trenches, tensions.
I guess there's so much I can go into details with here, but it's like primarily like what you can take away from what he's doing is that every single section he's doing sounds unique. Does that make sense? A lot of loopers will build their layers and then kind of keep them going as they are. Whereas what Martin is doing, which is really exceptional, and I think it actually makes him stand out, besides just like the whole battling energy, is his ability to take very simple things, reconstruct them in different ways, like the same pieces of the toolkit, reconstruct them in different ways to make each bar sound unique. Which means that as a listener, it doesn't feel like it's a loop.
Rising like family midday. No one light man, the moon, the sun, you won't be like them. The minute you try, I made it a drop it back to back and end this battle with a shot. I'm aiming for the top.
I mean, like just here, right? We have the full drum kit going on here.
Yo, try, I made it a drop it back to back and end this battle with a shot.
And then he takes them out.
I'm aiming for the
takes the rest out. He does it in steps.
top, yo. On my way to the pedestal.
Then he brings us in. And now with the lo-fi. I don't know if we had it before, but I don't think so.
On my way to the pedestal.
And I mean, not to talk about like the vocal ability, which is obviously pretty superior to most people in this competition.
On my way to the pedestal.
If I was to say something bad here, because at some point I do have to say something bad, it is that I would like a little bit more volume on his voice.
I'm aiming for the top, yeah. Sing it.
See, right, again, like this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. We have this flowing, flowing, flowing. Filter. Takes out the drums.
I'm aiming for
Filter.
the top, yeah. Sing it. On my way
Brings it back. Like, it's these little fillers that make it actually sound unique and different from a lot of the other stuff.
to the pedestal. Hey. Again, on my way to the pedestal. On my way
A little bit of crowd interaction is also always very nice.
to the pedestal. Waiting on my mind, yeah, ready home. It's time to say bye-bye, cause unfortunately for you, my competition is myself. Hands up now. On my way to the pedestal.
I mean, again, just excellent fillers all around. You know, there's just like, if you guys want me to like start, like, if you guys feel like I'm putting Martin on a pedestal, haha, lol. It's not because like I'm biased towards him. It's because he's objectively doing things that I've wanted in Loop Station for so long. He's doing things that I wish loopers would be doing, and he's the only one doing it. So it's not a question of like, do I prefer Martin to anyone? It's like, if people did what this guy did consistently at this level, then I would also be talking about them to the same degree. You know? That's just how it is.
On my way to the pedestal.
Yes, this is live.
Oh my, oh my, oh my way to the pedestal. Alright, Tokyo, I wanna hear you one more time. On my way to the pedestal. Come on, everybody, give me something now. On my way to the pedestal. Sing it again.
Well, that was maybe not exactly on tune. Minus 55 points.
Sing it again and again. On my way to the
Nice little-
pedestal. Sing it again and again. On my way to
That's
the
kinda sick.
pedestal. One last time. Hey. You're going down.
Time.
Yeah, great round. I don't really have that many criticisms. If I was to have a criticism, it would be a few things vocally. Yeah. Few things vocally, but that's a live take. And most of it was perfect, so what are you gonna do? Technically, it's very great, and the fillers, the variety, that's what I really think is just solid all the time. KBA, how do you look younger each subsequent year? I don't know, man. Probably like 1 year I'll have no hair, and then everyone will think I'm either like, so then I'll look 55, you know? So, you know, just wait until that day comes. But yeah, really, how old am I? I'm 25, which no one believes for some reason. But yeah, I think we just go right into Dice's round. I don't have much else to say about this. I loved it.
Dull in the Hunter, Dice, it's on you. In set.
Wait, what's that sound? That's a cool sound. I like how my chat is saying 25 and I'm extremely old. When, if you are legally using YouTube, then you are at most 12 years away from being 25. Hey, Rhinun, appreciate it, man. Have fun at work. This is cool. This is something I can really appreciate with Dice, is his use of vibrato and pitch bending. I think this is definitely one of his strengths. There's a little percussion in there I heard that I think
Let's get it. I'll pay the tax. Fraction. Rumble on my neck. I got the.
That's really cool. I'm missing a little bit of something. It doesn't really necessarily hit. Not in like a. It doesn't have to hit, but I think I need some more highs. I mean, in general, like, you know, you have the kick, but the percussion is very inaudible compared to the kick, and the bass is like objectively like a lot louder than the chords. I think there's a little bit of balance in between. There's a few balance issues in between the elements. Doesn't matter that much to me, actually. Kind of, yes, because I also felt this live that we were missing a little bit of volume, and I think that comes from the melodic and some of the percussive elements being too quiet. I think he was really off key, but to be honest, this is not something you noticed in the venue, if I remember correctly.
Okay, I like to hit that boom, boom, boom. Talk to sleep, now easy and got the zoom, zoom, zoom. Short as back, GBB. Now you ain't no stopping me. I got the fight trap, now fight them and kill the enemies. Now make some noise, GBB.
I mean, if we compare it to Martin, you hear how very uniform, like there's not nearly as much progression in this as you hear in like what Martin just did, you know?
Back to GBB. Now you
We have
ain't
this. Like the drums are like significantly more repetitive, and like having repetitive drums is not necessarily an issue, but you do need some breaks. You do need some fillers, and I'm missing the breaks in the fillers.
back to GBB. Kill the enemies. Now make some noise, GBB.
I'm just like, objectively, everything is really, really sick and really cool. I'm just missing a bit of like flow in between each section, you know? Like, he does this whole rap and then he just goes to this. And it's like, all right, now we're going. Just a new section. Like, it's just the transitions, you know?
Wait, what, Martin? You said I'm going down? You're going down.
That's sick. feeling when your foot is broken, but you gotta perform a GBB. Oh, you guys can't even see it because of the millimeters, but he's hopping on one leg. Oh, he is still hopping on one leg there. That's cool. Sick round. I saw some people saying it is more of a vibey round, and it certainly is. That was also the case for Martin Banati. So we have 2 rounds that were much more about like the vibe, the atmosphere, not so much like the impact of the drops, which I can appreciate. Again, I'm not here for, I like drum and bass, but I also appreciate a lot of other music, even if I am a drum and bass musician. The issue that I have in reality is kind of a mixed issue. There are some elements that are too quiet, like we discussed before. That, everything in the melodic area, in the instrument area, could be louder. The percussive elements could be louder as well. And you can say maybe I'm being harsh, but then again, we're also judging what should be the highest level loop station battle of the year in theory. It's, it's the Grand Beatbox Battle Final. I can be critical. The other thing, for example, in this part, I really like this part.
You're going down.
I really like this part, right? Don't get me wrong. But part of making something like this pay off is that you gotta create some tension first. And this, for me, does not have enough tension. It's just a riser. It's the same beat that we've been hearing for most of the round, featuring a riser. Followed by
what, Martin? You said
by
I'm going down? You're going down.
Followed by a 7, 6 or 7. Don't do the meme, please. A 6 to 7 second stop, which kind of kills his own momentum. What I would have done, and I'm not in the loop final, so you can sit here and tell me that I should go, do it myself. What I would have done here is I would have introduced this percussive element, the dun 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 dun.
Martin?
Like you can showcase that before you go into. Great, you guys are so mature. This is the moment where I realized that I might be talking to literal 8-year-olds. But I would just like this percussion to come in a little bit. Showcase the sound before it comes in to make the payoff stronger. Great. All right, I'm going to let everyone get it out. I didn't even say it. I didn't say it. You can instant replay it. I never said the meme. I said 627. Anyway, so yeah, a few transitions that like if we compare the two, Martin objectively does a little bit better. And just it's the small details. I really enjoy both beats, but you know. Back when I was a kid, the funny number was 69. It just isn't anymore. We live in, that was the Gen Z number. The Gen Alpha number is apparently 67. I feel fucking old, man. Anyway. KBA, can I have permission to use your track Predator for Donald Trump's highlight reel? That's a spicy question that I actually don't know what the right answer is to that question. I think I'm gonna, I pretty much just upload the entire, like usually I just upload the entire, the entire VOD on my channel and call it a day. But I think I'm actually just gonna have to cut out this like massive section where where the whole meme of both the numbers that are on either side of 68 happens, and also where I talk about where someone asked me if they can use Predator in a Donald Trump reel, even though I'm not gonna go political, even though I do study politics, but that objectively I think there is a funny joke in there somewhere that I'm not gonna laugh at due out of respect for people's political opinions. But yeah, there's gonna be this big section where I'm just gonna put this section was pure brain rot and then on to the next section. Most of us are in mid-20s, so don't act like you're too old. You know what? I feel old. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Let's get into the final round. Let's pretend like nothing just happened. And we go into the next section. Let's get into the round 2.
Ready!
Round 3.
Martin Minotti, it's on you. I say the trois, you say the deux and the Crown, trois! Spirits of the GBB, I'm calling upon the powers of your...
Immediately when I hear this, I know that he's about to drop some stupid shit.
Former champions, they shall obey to my will.
That sound is really cool, by the way. I could probably tell you how 95% of all the sounds in GBB Loop Station are made without even using a loop station. I couldn't tell you how that's made. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to do a reference breakdown as well. The mosquitoes in your room when you're trying to sleep. Mosquito Benati. This is nuts. I feel like I can't say anything that I haven't already said. But this is, so at this point I'm just gonna go, this is crazy, That's crazy. That's also crazy. That's also sick. That's also insane. Like, okay, I'm gonna do a breakdown because you know what? Like, the nerd in me wants to do this. This is gonna be the yap session of the century. Lock in, people. First of all, we got this syncope apparently. Boom, 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 boom. You know? Oh, maybe it's not here. Oh, maybe it's not here. But anyway, he's using like a really interesting pattern there. Boom, 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 boom. Like it's really like Like the drum and bass fan inside me who really enjoys drum breaks and everything, this is very pleasing. The whole build up into this is so sick. And it's also really clever because you're building up this atmosphere while you're building in all the layers. Then you can like slowly fade the whole bastard in, call it a day. Now you have your track ready whilst the whole thing is ready to go. Followed by one of the absolute coolest screams I've heard on a GBB stage. And this drum fill is completely on time and works. And see, now he's using the filter, fading more in. You hear the lows of the electric guitar coming in. Now the whole thing. And like all these little drum fills that he does with the solo beatbox is just nice. It will get you a long way. I mean, anyone who has also like previously heard my music can tell how much I enjoy fills because they're everywhere in my music.
GBB! Check out my lyrics! GBB! Check out my lyrics!
Unironically better than some of the lyrics I hear every year in the wildcard competitions. Don't at me. Stream desynced. Okay, we wait. Don't worry, for the video it will be fine. We wait. Hello. Bam bada beam bada boom. Stop crying, everyone. It's just technology. We'll be fine. We're gonna give it some time. We're back. Okay. So, we're gonna go back a little bit, but don't worry, guys. On the video, it will be fine. It's actually most likely a YouTube issue, now that I'm thinking about it. Because I'm monitoring everything here, and it's fine. So I think on the recording, it'll be okay. I think it's like YouTube out, but I'm not sure. I also don't care, to be honest. Anyway.
GBB! Check out my lyrics!
Yeah, that's insane. As you can tell by Beauty Man, he's also like, this is nuts. I think he's actually, is he laughing?
From the space to reality! You get it, bitch? And then loop.
So, reference number 1, right?
From the space to reality!
So that's referencing Dice's wildcard, for those of you who don't know. And, like, the whole diss of this is, like, you know, like, you thought you could win, but, like, get back to reality, like, you know. It's like, he's basically saying, like, get real, I'm gonna win. Is the whole point. And he's saying it using Dice's own round.
You get it, bitch? And then loop, bitch, and then loop.
So that's a Biscuit reference, for those of you who don't know. That's the track that Biscuit won with in 2021. His round 2 against Frosty. What's really, really cool about this drop is how he's drumming it manually. And if I'm not mistaken, it's set to single play, so that whenever he plays one bass, it comes in, like, you see. Wait, let me go to the loop. Right, so you see how this loop is playing here, right? The moment he presses this one stops. So he creates an automatic call and response by setting it into single play mode. Which is really, really clever. It's a good way to do a call and response because it's a very excellent way to do a call and response, because then you make sure that the basses don't overflow into each other. This is also a Sorrow technique reference. I'm gonna say something that might be mind-blowing to you guys, but people did one-shots before Sorrow. So I don't really think it's a Sorrow reference. Okay, yeah. Transition, there's so much going on. But this transition is actually a surprising, or Martin's a one-shot. I mean, he is a one-shot demon, but you saw one of the loops activate, like deactivating the other.
All right, are you guys ready for one last drop? 1, 2, 1, 2, motherfucking drop after Chris.
And yeah, here we get the Robin reference.
And Robin, French will beat you thrice.
I asked Martin, and he actually said that this was not a reference to Rhythmind. But I thought in the moment it was a reference to Rhythmind because he does the exact same positioning as Rhythmind. And this is a reference to me. Yep, because I made a track called Predator. Unfortunately, I did make that track. I made that track, the original one, in 2021, before anyone asked why I would call the track Predator. Back then, the term Predator was not as commonly used to reference people like Jeffrey Epstein, for example. However, now it is. So now every time people say I made a track called Predator, I feel weird about it. But it was a reference at the time to the Predator movie. I'm just saying this now because some people might get the idea that that was the reference, and it's to Predator the movie. If you've heard the whole track, you'll hear why. Anyway, let's watch this. Yeah, this was really fucking crazy. It was even more insane live. It was already a bit weird. I mean, I can tell you for a fact that people did not care nearly as much back then as they ended up doing, as they do in 2024, 25. But anyway, let's not talk about that reference. Let's talk about, the actual round itself. This was... this is the most insane battle round I've ever seen. Yeah. Someone actually asked me how this round, like, if this round was as good live as it was on video. And I was like, to be honest, I'm a bit disappointed with how it sounds on video compared to how it felt. Context. The live context was crazy. In person, it was nuts. Like, to be honest, it was just kind of done. At this point, there's not really much I can say. You guys have any questions about how did he do this? What do you think of this breakdown? I can answer that, But I don't really have much critique to give because this is, if you want to learn how to battle in a GBB final, this is a pretty good way of doing it. Yeah. Let's move on to the final round. Oh, this scream at the end is a great, just. Beauty Man's like, what are you? How did you get the top layer, the scream in the last drop? You mean like how do you scream or how do you get the top? I think the top layer comes from the vocal he does at the beginning, but I could be wrong. He might also have inputted it later, but it's definitely a vocal input. Do you think Martin will change the new gen of loop coming? To be honest, not really, because what makes this so impressive is also the skill set he has in terms of the vocal ability and the drummer's ability. And no matter how hard some new loopers try, they don't have the musical, like the technical skill with an instrument the way that Martin does.
Let's see
If someone just pulled that round and I had to do a round after, I would hate my life.
the answer.
Ready for the final round? Make some noise. Get that energy up. Let's go.
I say the set, you say the door in the haunted crowd. Set!
Great sound. I'm gonna remove that because, well, I'm gonna remove it and I'm gonna assume that you thought that was a joke. But let's not say things like that on stream. I'm not banning you or anything. Okay, my grandma's for. I'm not gonna ban you or anything, but like let's you know, there's a line to where jokes are and stuff, okay? I'm just for everyone else, like jokes and stuff are all good, but let's keep it within, you know, there is a limit. These are cool sounds. That's the octave. I
What if
appreciate the
we
filtering in and out
could
with the
touch
panning
the
down.
sky and stars? What if we were meant to be all gone, so no one cries the misery, and agony would be gone? If I die tomorrow, I still play the music.
That's nice. I mean, yeah, it is a good round for sure. If we're being completely honest, there isn't much they could have done at this point, so I don't see it as him throwing in the towel. I think he was probably planning to do something like this anyway. I would imagine, like regardless of what Martin did in the end, I would imagine this was probably his plan. Someone asked, I mean, okay, let's get out. I voted Martin Bonatti. It's like Martin, both rounds won, in my opinion. Someone asked, can chill and slow rounds win over an energetic and aggressive round? Or aggressive and energetic round? Yeah, for sure. For sure they can. When like everything in the end is just emotion, like aggressiveness, energy, that comes from like a specific emotion, and this triggers a different emotion. In the end, the degree to which they trigger the emotion that they desire to trigger is perhaps where like you win or you lose, I'm thinking of, for example, Robin in 2023, who besides the battle round he had for Dice, against Biscuit, who pulled out some pretty aggressive stuff, actually had a lot more chill rounds. So it's not that chill rounds can't win. But in this case, even though I really like what Dice did here, and I think the chords and stuff are amazing, on so many levels, it's clear that Martin was more prepared, more variety, perfect technique, and you can still battle with chill rounds, and Dice didn't want to do that. He kind of sacrificed that point, which is okay. But like, if I take out the emotional aspect from both Martin's round and from Dice's round, and I look at just objectively what they're doing on the loop station and the musical knowledge that they're displaying, it's still very clearly Martin. Take out the battle moves. Martin's ability to sing is superior. His ability to, use the machine to do the one-shots, all this. My camera's frozen again. Give it a second. There we go. His ability to make the fillers. His ability to create tension. It's just there. It's clear. It's obvious. Like, it just kind of feels like he's a bit overqualified for this competition, to be honest. Like, no question that Dice is a good musician. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he isn't. I think the majority of, like everyone in GBB is a good musician. But if we're being kind of real, there just is levels to it. Sorry to say it, but this French guy smoked everyone on the ability to battle, the preparation, the ability to use the voice, like everything. Everything was just better. Even if I take out my own music preferences, it's just so clear. And there's never a diss. It was not a diss at Nils. It was not a diss at Mahiro. And it's not a diss at Dice, because all these guys deserve to be where they were. But this French guy is just crazy.
In Tokyo, Japan at the GBB. Crowd, help me out right now. Martin Bonatti!
I mean, there's the only thing I can really say, I think, to make you guys understand what we kind of witnessed was that after this competition, after this battle, me, Beardy Man, Inky went for a coffee outside of the venue, and we met quite a bit of the boss team, like the guys who make the loop station. We met quite a few of them, and even they were in disbelief at this. Like, the guys who made the loop station did not comprehend what was going on. Beardy Man, who's been in the loop station scene since, I mean, Beardy Man basically created the loop station scene, couldn't believe what was going on. Sorry, I'm just gonna plug in my iPhone into the charger. Boom. You know, I've seen loop station since 2019, and like, even actually, this is a great transition. Subsonic, who I met at NUE. How do you think Martin has improved since winning NUE? It's funny you mention this, because what I was gonna say is that me and the two other NUE judges, who are a lot more experienced than me, Oxbox and Bellatrix, been in the music scene for far longer than I have, way more experienced than I do, saw the same performance at NUE and thought, this guy is the best in the world. So we already thought it at the time. And even then, this kind of exceeds expectations from what he did at NUE. Like, he's not necessarily... You know, if I could say one thing that he actually improved on, it would just be that he got more comfortable on stage, because that was his problem at the time. But yeah, I don't want to glaze the guy too much. I just want to say also shout out to Dice Man. All 6 of his rounds were great. There was not a bad round in there. I think most other years he had the material to win, to be honest. And to be honest, I think the same of Mahiro. I think both Dice and Mahiro in pretty much any other year probably win the competition. Not this year. That's how it goes sometimes. Do you miss being there? Nah, I'm good, man. I'm happy where I am. Well, the idea of coming back sometimes in my head seems fun. Like, the idea of being on the stage would be cool, no question. But I think about all the stressful moments and stuff that I had. And I think about how good of a place I'm in now. And I think about everything that I'm doing in the music now. And I think sometimes you just have to accept that it's over. And I think that's kind of where I am now. Where it's like, you know, it's better to end something while you're still enjoying it than keep on pushing it until you dislike it. But yeah, I don't think there's much more to say. If you guys have any questions about the whole competition, now is a great time to ask them. My hero was the scariest. Out there, everyone had a pre-counter ready for my hero. To some degree, I understand what you're saying. He was definitely the most well mixed, most powerful. But if everyone has a pre-counter for you, it's not necessarily only because you're scary. It's also because people know what you're gonna do. What do you think about removing the producer category? You know what? It's not my competition. It's in the end, Swiss Beatbox can do what they want. I'm a bit saddened by it because I think about how many hours I spent on it, not only as a competitor, but also, you know, how much time we spent on making the rules and everything. And it kind of feels like that's now just kind of all getting thrown to some degree in the trash, but at the same time, it's a business decision, and that's how it is. Did you watch Mirza's live? I mean, yeah, I was a judge. So I had to. I was forced. I was paid to watch Mirza live. Brez said that it was the worst looping decision ever he ever saw. You were the only one that voted. Like what? Like, did he think that my decision was bad, or the other judges made a bad decision? Will you be in Poland again as a viewer? Yeah, probably. Paponi, you know, like, Paponi and I actually have a really good friendship. And, you know, I'm really, really thankful for everything that he's done for me. And, like, none of you guys would be here if it wasn't, like, would be here in this chat for me if it wasn't for Paponi. You know? I wouldn't have a career in drum and bass. I can leak, you know, I'm gonna leak this on stream. I don't know if it's like meant to be secret, but actually Noisia downloaded my recent songs. You know, like, if I think back to everything that's happened, it's because of Paponi. And he actually, so, you know, I told him this. So what I'm trying to say is, like, I told him how thankful at the GBB, how thankful I was for everything he's done for me. And basically he said that, you know, if I wanted to be at the next GBB, he would just give me a ticket, you know, because of also everything that I've, you know, contributed to Swiss Beatbox besides just being a judge and being a performer. Yeah. So yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is, yes, I will be in the crowd. Can you beatbox now? Nah, bro. I could never beatbox. Could you see collaborative loop station categories in the future? We had the tag loop category. I didn't see it. What did Mirza say about the judges? I mean, me and Mirza are buddies. I told him, like, what I said is not a secret. I don't think he would say anything mean about me. Because Christoph said it should be considered a mistake, and it should be an auto win for Ya Sweet, Brett said. That kind of, yeah. Yes, Subsonic, I am kidding, but the funny is that people think I can't beatbox, so I kind of just keep it going. I mean, tag loop happened, and people didn't really like it. When did you start playing music? When I was like 8 or 9, I think. For a while. I've been a musician for a long, long time. When was the scariest moment to you when you competed? Oh, for sure, when my audio didn't work in the final at the GBB. I thought I was cooked. I thought I was done. I thought it was GG. Like, my audio was just... Because, you know, like, when you work with a loop station, there's definitely some bugs. You know, I'm not trying to say there aren't any bugs, but when you work with a whole ass computer with like a system like this, there's so much more things that can go wrong. So when my audio isn't working, I assume that, like, my setup's just done. I can't do my round, and Antrix wins by default. So for a second, I saw like my whole life's work flash before my eyes. but luckily that didn't happen. Let me see. Okay, it's kind of funny how everyone, like, I think most people are actually not upset at my judging, but I was actually really scared about how people would perceive my judging, especially because I, don't compete in the loop category. Were you like an actor or something? Yeah, for a little bit I was also an actor, but I don't really do that anymore. As a competitor in GBB 26, how do you even prepare for Martin? You have to... I'll get back to you on that one. I'll figure it out for you. But I don't have an answer right now. It's pretty clear that Martin's round was the GOAT. But what do you consider to be in the GOAT battle round previously? I saw someone ask me if Martin's round 1 was better than Frosty Fall. And you know what? Then I went back and thought, like, Frosty Fall was also really, really good. So yeah. I think Frosty Fall is a great answer for like a really good battle round. But also, when I go back and look at it, I also, to be honest, have to give myself props because I think Whiplash is a really good battle round when I go back and see it. That is someone asked me what was like the scariest moment for me. The moment I felt the best was during Whiplash. Appreciate it forever and ever. Do you vibe with Japanese electro music? I sadly do not know. I sadly do not know those people you mentioned, but there is this drum and bass liquid producer from Japan called Makoto, and he's really cool. A cover is fine for producer wildcard this year. In theory, yes, but you know how it is. Like, the originality will get marked down and all that. I would advise making your own music. How do you feel about people speaking Japanese in the rounds? I think it is, as long as it's not like, it doesn't feel, I like it for like hyping up the crowd, but it's scenario based, you know? If you're entering the producer competition, yeah, I know it's a joke. It's all good. Why are you evaluating the loopers? Because... I was thinking about this. I had this fun thought, and you guys can agree or disagree with me. But in many ways, the loop station is just producing. It's just a really, like, it's simplified, in the moment, live producing. At least the way looping is done now. They use the same effects I do. They use channels like I do. The only difference is, like, the live creational moment. That's the difference. But everything else in reality is more or less simple. Holy shit, I have to leave soon. I just realized because I am making music with Chaos in like 5 minutes. I have a voice message from Chaos and from Yasweed. Should I listen to them on stream? That's probably a really bad idea. But yeah. So that was that. I'm gonna do something a little bit different this time. Because I kind of announced the live stream just like in the moment. I'm gonna leave it up for everyone. I'm gonna leave this live stream up for everyone for the next 2 hours. And then I'm gonna make it members only. So yeah, you guys get to see it for the next 2 hours, and I'll make it members only. And of course, then I'm gonna edit them tomorrow probably, and that's my career done as a reaction YouTuber. So I hope you guys have enjoyed me being a reaction channel. I'm gonna be honest, it's not something I want to do too much of. Not because I dislike it per se, but like I'm not a content creator, you know, I'm a musician. And I hope if anything that my analysis makes you guys want to go stream my songs. Because as much as I love you guys for being here, I care about making songs more. Are there going to be more live streams? Probably, but not related to... Hey, thank you for the dono, Blazing Abyss. Appreciate it. Are there going to be more live streams? Maybe I'll do one on Producer when the battles come out for this. Maybe I'll do a few of the GBB wildcards when they come out. Trizzy, you fucking bastard. That caught me off guard. All right, guys. I hope you had a good night. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you will have a good night. And take care.